We just saw how to write a function, and in this video I'll show you how we can write a slightly better version of our greeter function. First, let us go back to our diagram. Now in an ideal world, we would like to take one input and we would also like to give back an output. But let us have a look at this function called as greeter. We are taking an input, but we are not returning an output. So let us see how we can create a better version of this. So behind the scenes, I've created a file called as betagreeter.py, and let us get started with this one. Let us go back to this file and let me copy all of these things. So let me copy right from here. Let me go back to this file and let me paste everything right over here. Let me collapse my sidebar, and this time let us try and return something. So instead of just printing Zola followed by the name, we can actually return this value. So let me take out the print statement, the bracket as well, and here I can say that I want to return my new string. So what this function is going to do is it is accepting one argument and it is transforming that string into a greeting message, and we are returning that string as well. Now since this function is returning a value, we also need to change the type over here, and the type is string. So what happens is when we were using the print function, we were causing something which is called as a side effect. But this function is a more pure function. It takes one input and it gives back one output. Now it is the responsibility of the caller function of how to handle the return data. Let me show you what I mean by it. But first let me write some comments. So let me go right over here and put me some comments saying that the caller function is responsible for the return data. And here I can say that this function transformed the original string to something useful, and let us change the documentation as well. So this function is going to return a greeting message. Now let us go down and let us see what's happening. On line number 25, we are invoking the function of greeter, and our main function is responsible for calling this function. That means conceptually you can call the main function as your caller function. That means main is calling greeter, and now it is the responsibility of your caller function. That means it is the responsibility of your main function of how to handle the return values. Now this pattern is very useful. What if you wanted to check for the return values? You can check for the return values and you can do something with it. Let us have a small example right over here. Let me put up some comments over here. Now suppose Louis finds Chico to be cute. So what we can do is we can say for each iteration, if Chico is in the output of my function of greeter, so greeter and friend. Now remember, our function of greeter is returning back a string, and if that string contains Chico, then we can print out something like this. So here we can say that friend is cute, or else we can simply print out the message as it is. So here we can simply print our greeter and friend. So what's happening is for each iteration, our function of greeter is returning back some values, and that value is Zola followed by the name of the friend. So for the first iteration, the return value is Zola CC, the second time is Zola Rocco, and the third time is Chico, and so on. But since the function of greeter is returning us data, we can handle that data in multiple ways. So first let me run this file and then let me try and explain you again one more time. So here we have the output that Chico is cute. So what's happening on line number 27 is, let me open up my IPython shell. So here I can say if Chico in Zola Chico, then we have the answer as true. If we say something like this, Louis in Zola Chico, the answer is false. And that is what we are doing on this line. Suppose the output of this function is Zola Chico. That time we simply want to print out a message saying that Chico is cute. So basically what we're trying to do is our caller function is handling the response of greeter in multiple ways.